This video is sponsored by Robot Cash. They're giving away a free copy of Torment Tides of Numenera to everyone. Robot Cash was created by games industry veterans who are trying to change the way we buy and sell games digitally. They're working directly with game publishers to give the power back to the players by letting consumers buy and sell digital games. So make sure to redeem your free copy of Torment Tides of Numenera from the link in the description from August 8 to August 22nd. I wasn't entirely sure what to expect from Torment Tides of Numenera. I knew this semi-futuristic fantasy RPG was a spiritual successor to the classic Planescape Torment, but I also kept seeing it as Tides of Numa, which put me in a different frame of mind altogether. That may have been why, several hours into my playthrough, I ended up killing a monster with a meme. I didn't melt its face with Barbenheimer, or bombard it with distracted boyfriend till it vomited blood, entertaining as that might be. Instead, Torment Tides of Numenera's meme follows the broader definition of the word, an idea, behavior, style, or usage that spreads from person to person within a culture. And it's far, far more lethal than anything you'd find floating around Reddit. My journey into memedom began in Torment Tides of Numenera's Psychic Bar, a tavern by the name of the Fifth Eye. It's a great place to get a drink, if you don't mind the imaginary barman or the ghostly woman who'll choke you to death. No one, tell Dan Aykroyd. I only survived that last encounter because, as the former host of a body-hopping god, I was basically immortal. It was when I started talking to the bar's living owners, psychics who specialized in taking on otherworldly entities, that I was introduced to the meme of doom. One of them, Theberos, told me he was the keeper of the words of Kara. I rolled my eyes, half expecting him to send me on some convoluted world-crossing quest, but he went on to explain precisely what this entailed. The words of Kara were a linguistic virus, which he'd contained within his own head. They destroyed the civilization that spawned them and, if released into the world, would infect those who heard them, driving them to madness or even death. If you've watched the movie Pontypool, that might sound a little familiar. And as a massive, massive fan of that film, that's precisely why I volunteered to become their next keeper. I wanted to be the one to safeguard the words, to ensure that they never threatened. Oh, who am I kidding? The moment I had them, I was going to run through the streets, yelling them at anyone who would listen. Why? Because I am just the worst. My initial attempt at persuading Theberos fell flat, mainly because I hadn't slept for several days. Unlike some RPGs, Torment won't let you pass out on a patch of grass, and since no one had unearthed an ancient cache of energy drinks, I had to traipse all the way to the one sleeping spot I'd discovered. But I was back, refreshed and with significantly less drool on my face. He transferred the words and, faster than you could say, my yaho, my ahaha, I was the new keeper of the words of Kara. And then, nothing. Oh sure, I'd lightened his burden, but my subsequent efforts to share them with the rest of the bar and the world at large fell flat. No matter which NPC I talked to, there wasn't so much as a let me whisper in your ear option. I was crushed. Was dooming a society to die horribly really too much to ask? Apparently so. So I'd all but forgotten about the words of Kara when Torment pitched me into battle against an ancient being known as the Adversary. The being in question had been watching the psychics masquerading as a man called Malaise. I'd uncovered its presence by supping a suspicious black ichor, not to be confused with the pink sludge that killed me half an hour before. It's never a good sign when a bar menu is just a description of each draft's viscosity. I was engaging in a battle of wits, regretting I'd chosen to go it alone when I saw that fateful option. Use the words of Kara on the Adversary. You could have heard my delight from 6 miles away. Without a moment's hesitation, I spoke the words and delivered a horrifying mental blow to the beast. Torment is text-heavy, so sadly I didn't get a visual representation of its agony. But once I'd shared the words, all I had to do was concentrate and the Adversary was no more, leaving me standing once again in the largely patron-free Fifth Eye. It was still a glorious, glorious victory, every bit as satisfying as summoning a giant flaming phoenix to incinerate it. Up until that point, the Adversary had been so sure of itself, making it panic, shrieking as the words began to infest its psyche. As Torment described it, was so delicious. It was the perfect contrast to the sheer, self-assured arrogance that moments ago the entity had been exhibiting. Sadly, the words of Kara were burnt up, leaving me without the apocalyptic meme my protagonist once carried in their head. Still, maybe if I think really hard, I can remember what they were. Hey, come closer, would you? I've got something to whisper in your ear. Thanks again to Robot Cash for sponsoring this video and giving all of our viewers a free copy of Torment Tides of Numenera. Check the link in the description for more information.